Gentlemen, Mr. Toastmaster and distinguished guests, what a privilege tonight to really share with you someone that's very special to me. Winston Churchill was, I call him Churchill. When I pontificate over braais and brandies with my friends on weekends, and we delve deep into the rich history of probably one of the most fascinating men that ever lived. The point of this story is not to get to any point. The point is just to share with you snippets and anecdotes about this character. My information comes from a series of books. They are called The Last Lion. It was a family crest and part of his family history, and hence the title of the book, as well as various books that he's written, particularly one called My Early Life. Churchill was born in 1874, and he was born a single child. His father was a career politician. His mother was a career politician's wife. His grandfather was a politician. And his mother's parents, his grandparents from his mother's side, were American. So he actually had American cousins. And as I'll explain to you, as I'll share with you later on in my 5 to 7 minutes, you'll get the American connection. He had a very lonely childhood. He, in fact, saw his parents up until the age, from the age of 0 to 10 years old. He saw his parents on average, besides Christmas, once a year. He was brought up by his nanny, and he was brought up in a Victorian household. Now let me just put a quick disclaimer in here. Churchill was not perfect. He was a colonialist, and he lived in a colonial time. But he was certainly one of the most vulpine characters you will ever come across. And if you understand and really understand what made this man tick, you will, I hope, by the end of my speech, get to have an affection for him like I do. So as he started in his early childhood, he was brought up by a nanny, and he spent most of his time indoors in a typically Victorian household, and he was a very sickly child. Asthma being one of his primary illnesses, getting colds often, and he was often mothered, but not by his mother, in fact by his nanny. Churchill entertained himself by playing with little lead toy soldiers. I'm sure we've all seen them in the museums. And that's where a lot of the historians and the writers of Churchill think that he developed his passion for military and for strategy. He always wanted to please his father, who was Chancellor of the Exchequer, which would have been the Provost Warden of the time, in charge of the Treasury. Churchill also wanted to very much be a politician. He wanted to be a politician. The only problem is that his family wasn't particularly wealthy. They lived a very good life, but didn't have the wealth that was required in those days to really make it in politics, because you had to have not only connections, but you had to have finances to afford you to mix and to entertain and to champagne the correct people in order to get to where you wanted to go in your political life. He was a particularly poor student. Particularly poor. But the problem was not that he was stupid. He wasn't even lazy. He just had no patience for the system that he was put in at the time, until he met a great teacher. And him and the teacher developed a bond with each other. And that really exposed Churchill's intelligence. You must remember that this guy that has been called arguably the best orator in the world that ever lived, he could memorize a 400-page textbook and repeat it back verbatim to his audience at the age while he was still in high school. Now, he went over to high school. He had a relatively fair high school career. He was nearly expelled a number of times because they thought he was a little bit thick, until they realized his potential and he connected with the right teachers. He had great friends and developed great friendships in his high school career, which was one of the private English schools. He then, what all boys would have done at that time, wanted to join the military. Now his father was an infantryman, in fact a rifleman, and that was where the nobility would go. Churchill wanted to ride horses. Now it's funny, if you look back, you would think, surely there's more status to riding a steed than there is to walking around in a pair of army boots. And it was exactly the opposite way around. So when he actually expressed this passion to his father that he wanted to ride horses and he wanted to be involved in the mounted infantry, there was friction, and his father was very unpleased with that. But his father couldn't really do much because he wasn't accepted into the infantry, or which was the elite military division at that time. So his father had to accept the fact that Churchill would be a mounted horseman. He spent a good number of his days in England training in the military camps, riding horses and playing polo, which was a great pastime, and which, as we all know, any colonial country now, South Africa, India, the Australias, polo is a huge sport. And wherever the English were and wherever they colonized, polo has become a big sport. Now Churchill starts getting bored. And he, in this time, while he was in military training, would go into London to visit his mother at that time every now and then. And he started seeing opportunity to voice and to stand up and speak to audiences. His first encounter when speaking to an audience didn't go very well. This is a 5-hour speech, so I'm not going to share it with you. But the point being is that something that he became so well known for, he failed the very first time he did it. And he went back into military training, and he then wanted to travel. And he went, and at that time, England was all over the world. The sun never set on the British Empire. So he took advantage of that, and being part of the British military, he started traveling. One of the places that he went to was South Africa. And I'm sure we all know South African history. He actually became a prisoner of the Boer War. He was held in Pretoria, and he actually escaped. And his escape was quite undramatic. He literally walked out the prison and rode a bicycle out of Pretoria all the way to Mozambique. He did sleep overnight one night, halfway between Mozambique, along what is now the N4. Some English miners, settlers, actually harbored him and kept him safe. In South Africa, he developed an understanding, perhaps, for the Boer, for a Dutch settler that wanted to be separate from the empire of the English, to have their right, to have their own political structure, and to speak their own language. That friendship comes back a number of times in his lifetime later, particularly with Jannie Smuts, and I'm going to share with you a story. So, Jan Smuts and Churchill developed a friendship. We've now jumped to World War I. They've developed a friendship. Churchill convinced him, I don't know if that time is right, are you paying attention to the time? Churchill convinced him then to side with the Allies and to fight on behalf of the United Kingdom. And Jannie came to him with a gift, which was fine Cape brandy. Now Churchill, believe it or not, was not an alcoholic, and he was never drunk but once in Parliament. But Churchill loved his brandy and his champagne and his Johnny Walker Red Scotch with a tall soda. So anyway, Jannie walks into Churchill's office and Jannie presents him with this gift. They're standing around the brandy table, they're holding out their brandy goblets, and Churchill pours for Jannie Smuts, Jannie pours for Churchill, they swirl their glasses, Jannie takes a swig, Churchill takes a swig, and he says, Jannie, this is a fine drink, but it is definitely not brandy. Thank you very much.